When people look back in the early 2000s and in the 90s, the late 90s perhaps, everyone would remember certain video games that used to be like a hit or a miss, like 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 some of these like Super Mario and other sorts. But we need to look at one of Mattel's most successful toys that actually was turned into a multimedia brand. Hot Wheels. So so let's talk about this phenomenal brand. Released in the 1960s, in 1968, it launched with roughly with the Sweet 16, give or take. That being the first Sweet 16, the which was manufactured. Those were the first of the Redline series, named for the tires, which have that red pinstripe on their sides. Those were 16 castings released. 11 of them were developed by Harry Bentley Bradley, with assistance from Handler and Ryan. The first one produced was a dark blue custom Camaro. Bradley was from the car industry and had designed the body for the full-size Dodge Diora, a concept car, and the custom fleet side, which was based on his customized 1966 El Camino. Oh. By 1969, the Hot Wheels brand was a staggering success, and it became one of the best selling cars and overtook Matchbox, forcing the competition at Matchbox and elsewhere to completely rethink their concepts and to scramble to try to recover lost ground. Some of the Hot Wheels' greatest cars, such as the Twin Mill and Split Image, came from other people as well. Obviously, Hot Wheels was their biggest thing from the late 60s to the 70s, hell, even the 80s actually. By later in the 1980s, Hot Wheels would see their first ever video game, and for the Commodore 64. Then soon, a few years later in the 90s era, we get to see Hot Wheels getting another video game titled Hot Wheels Stunt Track Driver, which is basically your basic sort of a arcade racer, or is it, or a stunt track driver game where you drive a Hot Wheels car, which was selected like Speed Blaster and Super Modified through sets of a house. Given the fact that the player's car is actually of the size as a Hot Wheels car, actually, you unlock cars by doing required tricks, do certain tournaments, which is pretty interesting. In 1999, a fun arcade racer game came into the PlayStation 1 and an N64 market with the introduction of Hot Wheels Turbo Racing. This is a PlayStation 1 and an N64 game which was created by Stormfront Studios and was published by Electronic Arts. And it features different cars like Supervan, Snake, Rash 1, and / Spinhouse, yeah, you get the point. In the 2000s, Hot Wheels was still fine. We see the introductions of new cars. We see the introductions of Exercise, Muscle Tone, MST Suzuka, Split Image 2, and other sorts of newer models in the 2000s, give or take. More Hot Wheels games were also made. The first Hot Wheels Burning Rubber, which is actually the first first Hot Wheels game on the GBA, and literally it's really very fun. It's basically an arcade racer on the GBA. A pick up and play nature, and honestly it's underrated. Even but what's very interesting is that they have certain cars that were previously were from Hot Wheels Turbo Racing, like Twin Mill 2 and Roll Cage, which Twin Mill 2 and Roll Cage were from Hot Wheels Stunt Track Driver 2 Getting Dirty, and Twin Mill and Hot Wheels Turbo Racing from 1999. But soon later, the Hot Wheels games industry eventually died off with when Hot Wheels World's Best Driver was introduced, and it didn't review well. Despite being made by Firebrand Games, disguised developer behind in one of the recent Need for Speed titles in Hot Wheels Track Attack. The Hot Wheels video game Dark Age happens to be when they shift their focus from console games to mobile games. But that wouldn't be until 2021 when Italian developer Milestone pitched an idea to Mattel in 2018. Italian developer Milestone, the company behind the MotoGP games and the Ride series, developed a new game based around the Hot Wheels property, making this mark the first console game based around the Hot Wheels property since 2013's World's Best Driver. Now, Milestone pitched this type of idea to Mattel in 2018, although they didn't expect them to take up that offer. Milestone desired to create such a game after realizing that although they specialized in sim racers, that was a niche of a niche. And the racing game genre was quite crowded, with the lead game designer Federico Cardini telling Polygon, "Could we make a game to the level of, I don't know, Gran Turismo? Technically speaking, yes. Should we go head to head with Gran Turismo? Oh, that does not sound like a great idea." So Milestone pitched an idea to Mattel in 2018 to make an arcade racer video game based around Hot Wheels. And so at the matter of which, on September 30th, 2021, Hot Wheels Unleashed, as the name implies, was released. The game was announced, and the game was first announced, and many Hot Wheels fans were hyped about the game. Now, and sure enough, in 2021, the game was officially launched. The Hot Wheels Unleashed 1 is played in a third-person perspective, like those of Hot Wheels Burning Rubber and Hot Wheels Turbo Racing. The game is generally a fast-paced arcade-style racing game that captures the excitement and fun of Hot Wheels racing, given the fact that it's its slogan, "Pure Racing Fun." Oh, so this is all about a pure racing fun, and it's not very boring. Very well said, Milestone. Well said, Ed. At launch, the game roughly launched with 70 cars, give or take. Players can unlock 66 and plus vehicles, including both classic Hot Wheels vehicles and newer, more modern vehicles. So we get our typically older and classic retro Hot Wheels cars like Invader, Bad to the Blade, Rip Rod. That is a retro car. And Power Rocket, Roger Dodger, and the original Twin Mill. And we also got newer models like Exotic, Velociracer, or Hot Wheels, and many others, give or take. Other cars were also added, like Hot Wheels High, as well as the older retro Hot Wheels cars from the 1960s or such, like the original Dodge Diora. Hot Heap, yeah, that's a very old car too. Ooh. What else? What else there's new? What else there's new? Obviously the game is actually very cool. Actually, the iconography of this game, I completely find it very pure racing fun. There are also a variety of secrets that you can complete to unlock cars during career Hot Wheels City Rumble, where all the monsters were unleashed into Hot Wheels City, and it's your job to take them down. Along the way, you'll be challenging a lot of racers, and you'll be getting one or two things: coins and gears. The gears are for upgrading your car up to the max, while the coins are being used to buy a limited offer amount of cars, and also the blind box. The blind box is kind of a mixed bag. So at the moment of which you don't know what kind of car is in that blind box. So obviously it's very confusing. But you might know there might be super treasure hunt vehicles, rare or legendary vehicles, as well as secret cars too. Speaking of secret cars, let's look at the secret cars that are not that they're actually playable for the player but not playable for AI opponents. We got Duck and Roll, Hypo Hauler, 442, Ramblin' Wrecker, Volkswagen Beach Bomb, Cadillac Seville by Gucci, and Hot Wheels Twin Mill 2021. And this is what the secret cars are supposed to be, and they are required, and they are going to be unlocked. But it's required to complete all quick races in Hot Wheels City Rumble, time attacks in Hot Wheels City Rumble, and other sorts of requirements. And while you're not racing in Hot Wheels cars, you can also let your imagination run wild with the track builder. And you'll be using very great track modules that are going to be used throughout Hot Wheels racing. Neat. You can also make your own livery editor models, as well as trying to replicate the type of models that you might see that you have saw during the trailer of Hot Wheels Unleashed 1, and in sorts. It's very, very interesting. That's it for the base game cars, like the new and old models. But what about the DLC vehicles? For DLC vehicles, there were mixed opinions about DLC. For starters, we got some monthly free vehicles, including those like old and new cars, like Nightburner, which was from Hot Wheels Track Attack, and Bifocal 2. Hot Wheeler, Mad Manga, Hot Wheels Dreammobile, the 56 Chevy, Too Tough, Aston Martin DBS, and Aston Martin DB5. BMW 3.0 3-liter CSL race car, rigor motor, hot seat. Yeah, you know what I mean. As well as some Christmas packs like Synchro Banzuka and Rockin' Santa Sled. The fun pack would feature Invader and Riveted, as well as a pre-order store exclusive packs like Hot Wheels Armored Truck and Baja Bone Shaker, Sports Car and Street Beasts pack and such. For the rest of DLC, we get one or two things. Licensed diecast cars. Yes, licensed cars. There are diecast models based off the real life models, like the Koenigsegg Ford Mustang, and as well as the BMW cars, give or take. Yeah, give or take a few. Part of DLC, we also get more Hot Wheels models, licensed real life model cars, Acceleracers cars, and the controversially we get character cars. Licensed cars were very great and welcomed, like the McLarens and such. But what's interesting is that Milestone actually got the rights to the Acceleracers cars, like Baseline, Diora 2, Hollowback, Power Rage, Synchro. You get this. So for the first time, Acceleracers has been mentioned, but there's one thing: the Acceleracers IP is already dead. But of course it's very highly welcomed, given the fact that some of the cars like Hollowback or Synchro never been in a Hot Wheels game ever since 2007 when from Beat That. So obviously they're fine. But at least it left a lot of people very dissatisfied. We only had 3 season pass volumes 1 to 3, which will feature much. So obviously, what next? There's also expansion packs. We got the Batman expansion. This year, DC Comics may crawl its way into the game. A Monster Trucks expansion featuring some monster trucks like 5 Alarm, Bone Shaker Monster Truck, Hot Wheels Demo Derby, Tiger Shark, and Race Ace, as well as the Looney Tunes expansion pack. Well, the character cars were, of course, very welcomed, actually, and I personally don't mind. But nobody else did not like this. A lot of people didn't like the character cars, actually. It didn't satisfy very people. So this is the only thing that everybody didn't like. Everybody said that the character cars were very not needed and were very weird. But the only car that's not a character car would be the Barbie Dream Camper, which the Barbie Dream Camper is from the same company who owns Hot Wheels, Mattel, obviously. So honestly, the Barbie Dream Camper is of course highly welcome, but the character cars aren't. Seeing M. Bison as a character car for the first time, it literally gave a big laugh out of me on the inside. as well as seeing the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle character cards that are in the game too, alongside with the Batman cards like Robin 2.0 T, the Joker GT, the Penguin, Batman Rebirthed, Armored Batman, Vega, what? Bugs Bunny, Daffy Duck, Marvin the Martian, the Roadrunner, and Wile E. Coyote. I say those character card based expansions were very fine to me. I mean, who doesn't love Looney Tunes or Batman, and who doesn't like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? But what's very interesting is that the Mystery Machine may have crawled its way into the game alongside with the Jetsons card too, and they're literally from Hanna-Barbera. Oh boy, oh boy, what a surprise! These. The problem with the character cars is that they weren't really even needed, and this is the only major criticism for Hot Wheels Unleashed 1's car selection. So 2 out of the 3 expansions were literally character car or based. We also have racing seasons, and which in reality there are 4 battle passes which were character card based as well. DC Supervillains, SpongeBob SquarePants, yeah, they got the rights in it to more Nickelodeon cars. DC Superheroes, and Jurassic World of all things. Seem that they are pretty cool when it comes to this. Obviously, I couldn't even imagine what kind of cars they are to be in Hot Wheels Unleashed 1. I mean, be honest here. I didn't even realize about the racing seasons actually because at the matter of which I don't have those type of character card base when I got into Hot Wheels Unleashed because I missed out. So obviously I just didn't even care or noticed. So that's a bummer. Too bad it's no longer obtainable. That's only one thing though. But honestly, the character cars were the major criticism of Hot Wheels Unleashed 1's car selection, and those were the Hot Wheels fans from the early 2000s, alongside with the Acceleracers fans, and one user on YouTube says it's a complete excuse for Mattel to do their brand deals with Marvel, DC, and Looney Tunes. Rather than giving the fans what they wanted, and obviously. So, what next? What next? The reception for Hot Wheels Unleashed 1, it became a good game, and it received generally favorable reviews according to the critics. The PlayStation 5 and PC versions have hold scores of 78 and 79 out of 100, respectively. The Nintendo Switch, PS4, and Xbox versions received mixed, sort of kind of mixed scores with you know. Many critics praise the game's visuals, physics, and gameplay, while others criticize for lack of content and online features. Overall, Hot Wheels Unleashed was seen as a solid racing game that was let down by its lack of polish. Hot Wheels Unleashed 1 would be created in the Unreal Engine 4, complete with great ray tracing reflections. So obviously they got new. So prior milestone using the Unreal Engine 4 to create Hot Wheels Unleashed, they also have some ray tracing and effects, which will make reflection very, very behavable and polish. while the game maintains a good locked 60 FPS. I love that. Despite its flaws, Hot Wheels Unleashed 1 was a commercial hit success. As of April 2023, the game has sold over 2 million copies and has amassed 8 million players across all platforms, as well. This marked Unleashed, the best-selling game with the Hot Wheels brand on it in history, and that caused Mattel to get some cash along with Milestone. The developers actually did a great job, despite major flaws. Though they were able to get the rights to certain cars, and actually, there's a big question: who asked for Hot Wheels Unleashed? Well, nobody. I sure did not. Obviously, this is the best. Honestly, Hot Wheels Unleashed. This is basically the best pure racing fun game there ever is. Despite the character cars and the major flaws and sorts, it remained a pretty fun game. Hot Wheels Unleashed 1 became a huge commercial success hit that it ended up getting in a sequel called Hot Wheels Unleashed 2 Turbocharged. Hot Wheels Unleashed 2 Turbocharged has launched and released on October 19th, 2023. A direct sequel to the original game, and was released on the same consoles as the Hot Wheels Unleashed 1 had. Much like the previous game, the player assumes control of true-to-life vehicles from the Hot Wheels brand and races against other opponents on a miniature track set in various environments. Hot Wheels Unleashed 1's first few environments in the base game features the following that I'm going to be listing right here. Here I go. We got the basement. We got the skate park, college campus, garage, and the skyscraper, and a track room. Only available in Track Builder. Those were the first few environments of Hot Wheels 1's environmental selection. While in Hot Wheels Unleashed 2, we have brand new environments. Some of them were pretty nostalgic, to be exact. The backyard. This kind of is little to known that this kind of traced back to Hot Wheels Stunt Track Driver a little at this which. Some people wish they could have bought in the sandbox in the backyard, so it would trace back to Hot Wheels Stunt Track Driver, 1998. The arcade, which is a pretty unique, awesome environment at this point. The mini golf course, the gas station, and a dinosaur museum. Interesting. Now let's look at the car selection. Now, ever since the criticism of the character cars from Hot Wheels Unleashed 1, the developers of Milestone greatly understood the criticism from the fans. And maybe they just let Mattel have their brand deals with Hot Wheels Unleashed 1's car selection. So Milestone just let Mattel Inc. had their brand deals with Hot Wheels Unleashed 1. Made perfect sense. Now I'm sure many people likes character cars, actually. I mean, who doesn't like character cars? However, when Hot Wheels Unleashed 2 was released, Mattel went all out with no brand deals. For starters, we still have our basic car size and term. Now Hot Wheels Unleashed 1 released released 70 cars within the game, to be exact. The DLC roster 150 car lists, if I'm not correct, or if I'm incorrect at this point. However, when Hot Wheels Unleashed 2 was released, we got the same 155 car list. So obviously this is basically a big one. But the content has changed significantly. The character cars were eliminated from existence. They were all replaced by plenty of retro Hot Wheels cars players adore, ranging from the cars from the early 2000s and the late 90s and other classic Hot Wheels games from the following: Stunt Track Driver, Turbo Racing, Burning Rubber, Velocity X, World Race, Beat That, Track Attack, and World's Best Driver. These being Power Pros, formerly known as Super Tsunami, Sirit Tuner, aka Showstopper, or Maelstrom, or Jet Threat Free, 16 Angels, Twin Mill 3, Solar CX4, MST Suzuka, Split and Image 2, Boligo, Way Too Fast, yeah, give or take, alongside with Drift Cane, Prototype H24, or and plenty more. You give or take a few. This give or take a few because this is the biggest car selection with retro Hot Wheels cars at this point. Hot Wheels Prototype 12. Oh, heck, even what else? What else there is new? Sand Stinger? Yeah, that's another one. And Hot Wheels 450F, Canyon Carver, and more. More retro callbacks were soon to be added into the game as well. So, at this moment of which, the cars from the early 2000s and from other classic Hot Wheels games like Turbo Racing, Burning Rubber, Velocity X, Beat That, even Hot Wheels All Out. Oh, yes, Hot Wheels All Out. Given the fact that MST Suzuka was part of it, too. Even Boligo, to be exact. Yeah, any type of Hot Wheels game that features that car counts as a retro callback, like Showstopper / Sirit Tuner, even Power Pro / Super Tsunami, and Prototype H24. So honestly, these retro Hot Wheels cars were a great welcoming addition to Hot Wheels Unleashed 2's car selection, alongside with plenty of new licensed real-life model cars as well, like the Dodge Charger Hellcat, which is from the Fast and Furious franchise, the Bugatti Chiron 2016, the Nissan Z, and Golf GTI, the Volkswagen Golf GTI, alongside with Volkswagen Drag Bus, alongside with neat newer models to keep modern collectors interested in collecting too. These are Count Muscula, Cosmic Coupe, Tooligan, Cyber Speedster, Glory Chaser, El Segundo Coupe. Even the 1954 Mercedes-Benz 300 SL. And La Fasta, Aristorat, Da Vincinator, LB Super Shellhawk, Nissan Silva S15, Super Blitzen, Group C Fantasy. It even brought in Fast Fish as well. prior to the retro callbacks being part of Hot Wheels Unleashed 2's car selection, just like Alpha Urban GT2, the sequel to the original Alpha Urban GT game that was available for the DS and such, except Hot Wheels Unleashed 2 introduced us to entirely new vehicle types, off-road terrains, and motorcycles, which are ATVs and bikes. A good, cool addition to the game. However, there were mixed opinions about ATVs and bikes, though. The bikes, they drift as the same as normal cars, which is quite very and the hitboxes don't drive with bumps at all. So the motorbikes are literally light as a feather. If you bump into something like an object on the track of an environment, your motorcycle will spin out. So I suggest you avoid them before you get into trouble or you get spun out of the race. ATVs, on the other hand, are somehow ludicrously fast for no reason whatsoever. Power Sander is faster than 90% of the cars in the game, actually. So what happened? Well, the only fastest car in the previous game was Street Wiener, actually. A hot dog car, so it's not that surprising. The cars from the first game, some of the cars from Hot Wheels Unleashed 1 returned, like Time of Taxi, Nightburner, and Fast Gassin. That's about it for the base game cars, though. Oh, but what about the DLC? The game has finished all their DLCs for until the next Hot Wheels Unleashed sequel comes out, or not. So let's look at the certain DLCs that were released. In the pre-order store exclusive packs, we get the Rusted Fast pack, the Unstoppables pack, the Speed Kings pack, and just a Scratch pack. These are the pre-ordered packs. Some of them would include, you guessed it, some retro callbacks. One of them. The first DLC card that was released would be Twin Mill Unleashed, the legendary Twin Mill Unleashed, part of the 2023 Hot Wheels Unleashed 2 Turbocharged Pure Fire Edition. Interesting. Up next, we get more of the Acceleracers pack. We get more Acceleracers cars. We get the RD09, Spec-Type, Carbide, Rollin' Thunder. You guessed it. Yeah, 4 more cars. What next? What's next? We get a Speed and Style pack, which will feature more licensed cars, like the Corvette CAR and the Audi R8 LMS. They're basically all fast sports cars, which are drag cars. We got a Fast X pack, given the fact that the Fast and Furious license has been acquired by Milestone, and that means the Fast and Furious series is coming to Hot Wheels Unleashed 2 Turbocharged at that point. And then once again, we get more Acceleracers cars, and an expansion. What's beefing is the new environment, the Accelodrome. You guys were right. 8. What are the new cars that came part of the expansion? Ratified, Chicane, Spinebuster, and Reverb, which was later been renamed to Verts. Obviously, Reverb sounds better, in my honest opinion. Then we get the Honda Modern Classics pack, which will feature licensed Honda vehicles and a bike, such as the Honda Super Cub. And then later we get the Made in Italy expansion pack. We got we later got that one. It will feature 3 cars and a motor scooter. Fiat 500D Maffico, Alfa Romeo 155 V6 Ti, and a Lancia 037, and their first ever motor scooter called the 1966 Vespa SS90 Super Sprint. Interesting. As for the new environment, the Italian Village. It kind of makes sense because Milestones is hometown. The developer's hometown happens to be in an Italian actually at this point. So obviously this makes sense though. Though if I'm wrong. And this is gonna be, and that was part of the Season Pass Volume 1. What next? We get to Season Pass Volume 2. Prior to this, we get, for the first time in literal decades, not only accelerators returned, but that's right, the Highway 35 World Race Pack just returned. Some people say we're all waiting for Crazy 8 alongside with Ballast and Muscle Tone. Well, they were coming. We didn't know if they're gonna get the rights to Side Draft actually, but unfortunately, Milestone didn't get the rights to Crazy 8 nor Side Draft. So as a moment of which they only picked the more of the well-known Hot Wheels cars that were from Turbo Racing and beat that in Burning Rubber and Stunt Track Challenge. These being 24/7, Power Pistons, Slingshot, and Vulture. Then up next we get the Monster Trucks pack. In the first game we had an expansion for Monster Trucks. Sadly, no expansion from Monster Trucks in Hot Wheels Unleashed 2. So honestly, I don't know why would they add more Monster Trucks in the game. We already got 4 Monster Trucks accounted for. So why 4 more? I mean, at least I mean, they should have gotten the rights to more Hot Wheels cars to fill in that slot. But then again, it wouldn't be not right. And what's next? Oh my goodness, we get a Fast and Furious expansion pack. So we get the rest of the Fast and Furious vehicles alongside a new environment. Dominic Toretto's garage with a Dodge Charger RT 1970s, a W Motor Lycan Hypersport, the 1995 Mitsubishi Eclipse, and Nissan Skyline GTR R34. However, unfortunately, the Fast and Furious franchise somehow has suddenly went down for some people actually. When I don't know why. What next? We got the Old But Gold pack. Everybody previously was thinking that it could be anything. It would be maybe the 4 of the Sweet 16, the first 16 vehicles that Hot Wheels released back in 1968. Sadly, no. They are just only more licensed cars, which are the 1994 Bugatti EB110 SS, the Nissan Skyline R32, the and 2 Lancia cars, which are the Lancia Delta HF Integrado and the Lancia Stratos Group 5. And next up, we get the Alien Encounters expansion pack, which will feature alien-themed rocket space themed vehicles. Actually, at first, someone was mentioned that a certain car from Stunt Track Driver 2 should come too. One of these cars what happens to be Radar Ranger, given the fact that Radar Ranger hasn't been in the Hot Wheels video game since Stunt Track Driver 2 Getting Dirty. And it's for off-road terrain reasons during that game. Sadly, instead of the suggested alien rocket-themed vehicles that Dragon Shark, a user who uploads Hot Wheels those videos, sadly, those suggested cars that Dragon Shark had made didn't happen. Them being rejected for the actual cars that Milestone got the rights to, such as Speed Slayer, Highway Hauler 2. Yeah, that is an alien themed car. Or Test Subject and Swamp Buggy. Another monster truck? Okay. What? Well, Highway Hauler 2 I understand because it was part of the 2014 Hot Wheels Road Trippin' series. So it kind of made perfect sense. It made perfect sense to add it because one of the cars had these very interesting packaging of an UFO abducting a Hot Wheels car. Or some of the cars had that type of packaging, like the 49 Drag Merc, and Tail Dragger, and the 81 Camaro, and thus, of course, Highway Hauler 2. So it's pretty understandable. As for the new environment, we got. Well, dare I have to say this? We have Hangar 68, complete with the UFOs, ambulance sound effects, which gave me the SimCity vibe. Well, not really. At least the UFO. At least the UFO in Hot Wheels Unleashed doesn't look like the ones that we saw that I see in SimCity 2000, with the weird eyeball. Creepy, and gross. Out all the vehicles in the Alien Encounters expansion pack, the only car that is rocket themed and space themed what happens to be Speed Slayer, which I actually own in my Hot Wheels collection at this moment of which, thankfully. Then finally, we had a very creative pack name called the Mercedes-Benz pack, from the Mercedes-Benz cars from the modern to classics. The 1971 Mercedes-Benz 300 SEL 6.8 AMG, the 2016 Mercedes AMG GT3, the 1993 Mercedes-Benz E36 AMG Estate Special Edition Custom, and the 2019 Mercedes-Benz A-Class. And as for the free pack, we get more cars. We got the Manga free pack, 2 returning cars from the first game. We got the Highway 35 free pack with Muscle Tone and Ballistic. Yeah, those are retro callbacks. The Megabytes free pack featuring Sharkbite and Hot Wheeler. More Excel Racers pack with Iridium and RDO5. More Excel Racers with Technanium and Pile Driver. And the last few Excel Racers cars will be 2 more retro callbacks. Battle Spec and Jackhammer. That's about it. Now let's I'm gonna list over all the cars that actually are retro callbacks players adore that are from previous games. I'm just gonna start off. Hollowback, Maelstrom, Roger Dodger. Yeah, that's a retro callback. Bone Shaker, Drift King, 16 Angels, GT Scorcher, or Power Pro. Circuit Tuner, aka Showstopper, Twin Mill, Bully Goat, Power Rocket, Twin Mill 3, Way Too Fast, Prototype H24, Jet Threat 3.0, Hot Wheels Prototype 12, Bad to the Blade, Solar CX4, MST Suzuka, Invader. What else? Dodge Diora / Diora 1, Sand Stinger, Baja Truck / Baja Jump Truck, Canyon Carver, Hot Wheels 450F. Yes, that's a world's best driver bike from the red team. Splitting Image 2, Synchro, Street Nas, Ballistic, Muscle Tone, Battle Spec, Jackhammer, F1 Racer, Impavito 1, Spec-Tyke, Carbide, Chicane, Spine Buster, 24/7, formerly known as Hot Wheels Drift King, 24/7, Power Pistons, Slingshot, Vulture. I believe that's about it. That about covers it. I just only listed the cars that were present in certain older Hot Wheels games. So this is the best I can find and come up with through the scripting. Now, how's Hot Wheels Unleashed 2 Turbocharged today? Hot Wheels Unleashed 2 Turbocharged today, it had a little bit of flaws, but soon Milestone later fixed some issues regarding some of the problems, like the bugs and such. However, despite the game getting a little bit of updates, it's some bugs can still be seen throughout. But at least the game is actually pretty fun. Pure racing fun to the next level. Some might really disagree afterwards. But what about the story mode? Unfortunately, Milestone just did an unthinkable and made a story short that is more aimed towards that young audiences rather than the hardcore, rather than the Hot Wheels fans that like Hot Wheels Unleashed 1 and 2. Obviously the cutscenes are fine, but unfortunately they've probably been blown on a Maggie Q. Obviously cutscenes they're more super pitched to young audiences, and I get that they're trying to reach the young audiences, but I'm sure anybody else who are in this Hot Wheels Creatures Rampage career mode can still play it at this point. I'm not surprised. Now, any type of an expansion will be playable during career mode, with no cutscenes involved. Yes. Yeah, no cutscenes involved. Once you're done with career mode, you'll be receiving some rewards depending on what you do during the Unleashed missions, which are required, and this will unlock you some secret cars that you can play with throughout your racing in quick race events. We only have a few modes in total. Elimination, your basic which is from Hot Wheels Beat That and such, Quick Race, Time Attack, Drift Master, and Waypoint. Waypoint is basically an open environment world source where you can explore certain parts of the environment. However, some people say this is very useless. It was very controversial. I mean, back from Hot Wheels Velocity X, we had an open world source mode called Joyride. And Joyride kind of made a return to Hot Wheels Unleashed to Turbocharged, actually. So honestly, that's a shock. But what's also interesting that Hot Wheels Unleashed 2 introduced us to more mechanics: lateral dash, the jump, and sideswipe. So during race modes, similar to SSX, you can knock your opponents out of the race by knocking off at the tracks and such, which is similar to SSX, the SSX franchise arcade style racing video snowboarding game, but except with no snowboards and with Hot Wheels cars. Lateral dash is a mechanic that was from Hot Wheels Velocity X, which made its grand return, now being used to sideswipe your opponents and also get around some stuff that might slow you down, like barriers, spider modules, even Stegosaurus modules and such. And the jumping ability will be able to help jump over other opponents and try to avoid getting sideswiped by other opponents too. Which is very interesting because the lateral dash is very usable during Velocity X. It's now being reused in Hot Wheels Unleashed 2 Turbocharged, actually. Now there's the big question: how is the game today? Well, it's sort of clinging right now. So you might saying that Hot Wheels Unleashed 2 failed. Well, sorta. It definitely, it completely had bad. It completely had, it sold old very average or terrible actually. Yeah, it has poor reception, and it's completely very nonsensical. Despite the game bringing back older Hot Wheels cars, and developers were more in the depth with the fans of Hot Wheels, the game we don't know what happened. Did it fail? Did it actually fail? I'm not sure. But according to some people, it just failed like it did. And we don't know why. But honestly, all of this had something to do with the fact that it was launched around the same time as other games did. And that would cause the game to fail, actually. You can't just launch games at the same time, around the same time as the other games will get released. That means launching it very terribly on one of the days as the other games come will get that type of GTA Advance treatment. Yeah, y'all remember what happened to Grand Theft Auto Advance? When it was released back in 2004, it was released on the same day as when GTA San Andreas came around, and it failed. So obviously, I'm just gonna say this: history has officially repeated itself. It seemed like nobody didn't get the fact that Hot Wheels Unleashed 2 Turbocharged actually failed like it did, just like what happened with GTA Advance from 20 years back. Mind me to tell you that since it's 2024, GTA San Andreas and GTA Advance is going to be turning 20 years old. old actually. So yeah. So unfortunately, Hot Wheels Unleashed 2 Turbocharged, despite there are no character cars and 0% of them, it's it literally didn't make a serious dent, and it died not long after with and um yeah yeah and that and an up and there was an update, and this is just one update for Hot Wheels Unleashed 2 Turbocharge, and there will be no updates after that update. In the Hot Wheels Unleashed community Discord server, everybody was very mistaken and very confused what is going on here. Will there be more content updates? According to the Milestone team, the answer is no. There won't be any more content updates. Sad, I know. The last one was the Mercedes DLC. So that means, yep, the game is effectively dead. No, some people might say that there might be a Hot Wheels Unleashed 3 coming out, but we don't know. But we don't know if it's actually going to be true or not. If that's the case, then Hot Wheels Unleashed isn't dead yet. But unfortunately, the problem is that with the poor reception of Hot Wheels Unleashed 2, I kind of doubt it would come. So I wouldn't be surprised, and I kind of doubt that. And if it does, if it does get announced, what next? What next? The full trilogy is gonna come complete with a lot of the same cars from the first and second games, and then we get a full-fledged of all the environments from the first and second game, along with the third game that with new environments and such. And what next? Those are my just possibility thoughts. So, with Hot Wheels Unleashed 2 dead, Milestone moved on to focus on one of their other games that they had in store, that being Monster Jam Showdown. Meanwhile, I received word that Matchbox, which has a phenomenal brand of its own, is receiving a brand new video game since the previous Matchbox game from, I don't know, 90s, 2000s. I can never remember because I didn't have any Matchbox cars back when I was growing up. So what's this new Matchbox video game, you ask? Matchbox Driving Adventures. Excuse me. Yeah, Matchbox Driving Adventures. And it's very interesting. However, you better guess what the game's gonna be published and produced by. That's right, Outright Games. The same company behind Baby Shark Sing and Swim Party, in association with Retro Technology. Or is it Retro Technology? I can never remember. Matchbox Driving Adventures was first announced, and it will be in stores available on September 20th, 2024. However, there were mixed opinions about that game. Now, everybody is saying that the graphics were terrible, but honestly, the graphics look very realistic, actually. Yeah, at this point. Almost much realistic. But honestly, in honesty, they should have just used the Unreal Engine 4 or Unreal Engine 5, like what Milestone would have done, instead of having that type of game engine that they used for Matchbox Driving Adventures. So that way it would have been much perfect sense. But honestly, at this point, across Gen game in 2024 with prehistoric graphics, and everybody's saying it's a PS2 and Wii game. Honestly, I disagree. This is it. The PlayStation. if Matchbox Driving Adventures was released for a PS2 game, then it would have been different. And one of the users' honesty for Matchbox not to have a video game, Mattel did according to a user goes by the name of I Jimmy Marius. Mattel did Matchbox dirty. They could have done a spin on the Hot Wheels Unleashed game for Matchbox cars with all licensed cars. The old Lenzy and Superfast cars would be cool. And I honestly have to agree with his honest opinion. Actually, Mattel did Matchbox so dirty, and this is stupid. I mean, it's a very bad idea to do an IP that Mattel owns like Matchbox. It wasn't such a good idea to do Matchbox dirty like that. I mean, give Matchbox. Pitch. Milestone just. Mattel have Milestone put Matchbox cars on a Hot Wheels video game, and then we have the Hot Wheels Matchbox Unleashed game. Actually, it would have been much perfect. It would make sense to have Matchbox cars on Hot Wheels Unleashed, and allow the Matchbox cars to be on Hot Wheels Unleashed, and then we would spin Hot Wheels Unleashed and the Matchbox cars around, and then we would make it the Hot Wheels Matchbox Unleashed Extreme, complete with Matchbox cars and Hot Wheels cars together to create the big back-to-back race against each other. Actually, you think you know? I think you really know. You think you know a company actually. The company who owns Hot Wheels and Matchbox will not make a crossover IP with Matchbox and Hot Wheels. Get out of here. To the Milestone team, I think I need to tell you around this bush. Get some rights to the Matchbox cars and spin Hot Wheels Unleashed and Matchbox each other around. What I mean is, try and get the rights to some Matchbox and to get some Matchbox cars, and allow to spin off Hot Wheels Unleashed into a separate spin-off title for Hot Wheels and Matchbox cars built for racing and for other missions and such. Now, everybody can say it will not work if you want. Matchbox and Hot Wheels played a huge role in the 2000s kids' childhood genre memories, and I'm literally a 2000s kid growing up. It would make perfect sense if they had to make a certain type of video. It would be to make a certain type of a video game for the Hot Wheels and the Matchbox IPs to have a crossover between each other, and then we would have been seeing a great awesome greatness of the game. It would have been a great crossover game. Matchbox and Hot Wheels cars together, it would be very fondly interesting. But I kind of doubt that it's going to happen. Those are just my predictions. Sorry, y'all. So, at the moment of which, what's next for the Hot Wheels video game genre? The revival? I don't know what's going to be next. I wouldn't be surprised if some other game companies would jump on this bandwagon and make Hot Wheels games for the Hot Wheels brand, actually. In conclusion, while the Hot Wheels video game genre has been revived, it's at least it was a great surprise. However, some people saying that this Hot Wheels Unleashed game is very boring and it doesn't have that much of fun and charm as the previous ones from THQ. And at the moment of which, in honesty, they're actually very fine. But what I do need to suggest to Milestone is that um, maybe you should spin off Hot Wheels Unleashed into its own IP game with Matchbox and Hot Wheels cars together. So we don't want so that way the Matchbox and Hot Wheels fans will be satisfied. But I'm not bum not bum not sh- but I'm sure everyone else will disagree with me otherwise. Honestly, Matchbox have been done dirty by Mattel. And I kind of feel bad for the IP, and it's just kind of sad. And it's just kind of sad. It's just kind of sad to me. If I was working at a video game industry, I would pitch this type of idea and make negotiations with Mattel. Oh, and allow them to do a Hot Wheels and a Matchbox video game with a crossover between each other to make it a big crossover Hot Wheels and Matchbox game, and that would have been way pure racing and mission fun. So honestly, this is my personal thought and opinion actually. Anyway, thank you guys all for watching. I will see you next time.